we have like pre-show banter. Liking the tunes?
I really am loving the music. It's so much better than elevator music.
To you.
When I move this way, I really get the shine out my
I like it.
Hey, we could be like the next Click and Clack.
The what?
Old radio show.
Too young to know.
Is this Mr. Rogers' theme song?
No, it's
Won't you be my neighbor?
I made it a little too bright today. It's alright. Avery's like, your mic's not muted. I'm like, I know.
Who said that?
Avery.
It's pre-show banter. This is the fun stuff. The fun stuff before the fun stuff.
I guess that would be a shout out to Avery then, yeah?
Yeah. My wicked sweet dance moves over here.
I like it. America's Next Top Model. I mean,
That's right, top model.
Top Model.
Six minutes. We need like one of those triangles. I have 11:54. What time do you have?
Yeah, same.
Okay. You know when you go to like Phantom of the Opera and you walk around and go, let everybody in.
You got one.
too extroverted at these times to sit here quietly. You know what I'm actually looking forward to the most, I think?
What?
Once like we can actually go outside again. A really nice Italian coffee cappuccino. So my cappuccino maker broke.
That would be fantastic. With a little bit of chocolate.
Mm. You don't realize how much you miss things until they're not there. Like
I
I
know.
miss flying up to Toronto to see them.
Or going to DC. I like it. It's a nice little old piece here. Hey, Bill, how's it going?
Hey Dom, All good on this side. How about you?
Not too shabby here.
Yeah.
So,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to resichat. We are live today. So thanks everyone for watching us. Before we go into kind of the topics, let's do some house cleaning items, right? Darm, you want to kick us off? What time is resichat every week?
12 o'clock,
On what day?
Tuesdays. Wait,
Tuesday.
12
That's right.
o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
All right, 12 o'clock Eastern on every Tuesday. All kinds of different topics, whether it's housing management, technology, events specific, it does not matter. We're actually working on some great topics upcoming in these next few weeks, so we look forward to everyone joining us. Uh, if you want, check out the website. We'll post it on here in just a bit. But we can actually, take you on as a guest speaker. So if you want to be live with us on any of these Resi chats, go ahead and submit your request there. Or even if you don't want to be live with us, but you want some questions answered, we're more than happy to take those on as well. And you can submit that from the website too.
Or maybe if you just want to hang out.
Well, yeah, or maybe you just want to
Do you know
hang
what I mean?
out and just be here with us.
That's all
I mean,
good too.
isn't that the whole point of this anyway? This is like our little lounge. I will say I am looking forward to actually doing this live and in person with you. So hopefully we can get through this mess pretty soon.
I hear it's pretty close, but
Same. I'm hearing, at least over in Europe, they're over the curve. So that means we're probably about 2 weeks to a month behind.
yeah.
So good news all around coming our way.
All right. Well, let's get started here.
All right. So today, episode number 2, our topic on resichat is how to monetize your room block management solution. This is a tough topic. Sometimes people don't like to talk about money, but when it comes to your event, monetizing and developing new revenue streams is important now more so than ever. So let's start off with the first question, Darm. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. Before we do it, I just want to give a good shout out to Chris Bogle here. He's on our chat. His being part of the chat, and then Avery as well. Trying to banter the banters. So that's kind of fun as well. And
are you the chat moderator? I can't see him. You can. So you have to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go. Number 1.
All right, number 1. Why you should monetize your room block management solution?
Well, I mean, like, who doesn't like money?
All right, but sometimes, money is like this taboo thing where, I don't know, maybe you don't want to charge your attendees for some stuff. Maybe you don't want to do this.
Yeah, well, I mean, in this case, definitely there's an opportunity to monetize the housing platform. It is a new revenue source. It's something to think about. It definitely allows the opportunity to look at how to get extra money from the entire technological process. Now, let's look at it this way. For example, when you have, when you go buy a ticket at Ticketmaster, yeah, you're paying how much for a processing fee, for example. So that's how they're making their money. That's how they're monetizing it. Plus other ways too. So if your platform can allow for monetization in that way, why not take advantage of it?
I agree, and I'm actually glad that you brought up Ticketmaster because that's exactly the kind of mindset that I have as well. And this is what I'll say to that. And a lot of people give me looks and like, "Are you kidding me?" But the event industry is somewhat 6 months to a year behind kind of the commercial world. And that's okay, right? We catch up in a B2B standpoint, but events specifically, we put on so many experiences for our attendees. And yet, we don't even remotely think that we should be charging for those experiences. But Dom, I have a question for you.
What?
All right? This is a biggie.
You're full of
When's the last
questions,
time that you went to an experience? Yes, I can't even finish the question now. When's the last time that you went to an experience that you didn't pay for?
That was good? Never.
Right? You pay for quality experiences.
I mean, it's like when someone says, "Hey, you want some free food?" I don't know about that one.
Well, I mean, I'll take free food. I'll eat anything.
Fair enough.
I'm on a seafood diet. All the food I see, I eat. That's right. Dad joke right there.
Okay.
But I'm serious. So event professionals don't think in this way, and sometimes it frustrates me. And if you do think in this way, awesome. You're a growth architect. Talk about that, what that is another time. But the idea behind that we should be giving things away for free as member benefits, right, is kind of ludicrous to me because at your event, how many of them are actually members that attend? The data tells. I mean, it's not even half. So you should be charging for your experiences, and you don't need to say, "Hey, listen, I'm going to charge you $20 directly for this experience." No, you can do it through other revenue streams, and I think the perfect way to do that is through your room block management solution.
Absolutely. And something to keep in mind is, for example, would you pay extra money to not wait for a late check-in, for example? If you want to do an early check-in,
Yeah,
would you be okay with $10 for that? You know what I mean? So I think considering how to monetize the experience, sorry, monetizing the process that leads to an experience is definitely something to keep in mind. And the platform should support that. So, yeah,
you brought up another great example. Would you pay
full of them.
for, right? Would you are full of it. No, I'm just kidding. Would you pay for the early check-in or even late checkout? $10 each. The answer to that resoundingly for everybody is yes.
Yeah.
And here's why I will say that. Look at Southwest Airlines. You know how many people purchase early A-list check-in just to be on there if they're not part of A-list? They had to up it because it was so much, from $25 to $50.
Oh, wow.
Like, I mean, I don't know what they're doing right now because nobody's flying, but before all of this, that's what they did.
That's pretty cool.
People
And
pay for experiences.
absolutely.
It, it,
And I think also to keep in mind is with the monetization process, it does help offset a lot of revenue that has been cut in the last couple of years through the commission breakdown. So this is a good way to, it doesn't equate it, but it does help it. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And I think everyone is sort of monetizing it in a different way. For example, in New York, we heard this a few weeks ago. There's a portage fee for every person automatically added to to your reservation. So surprise. So even the hotels are monetizing
that's
different.
on top of the resort fee, but only,
Yeah,
but only in New York.
it's wild. It's wild.
Well, okay, so that actually feeds into the next question is like, how do you get over the stigma then of trying to charge? People think, hey, I'm nickel and diming, right? I think what you said there was kind of perfect for that. It's not considered nickel and diming if you're putting on a valuable experience.
Yeah, there's a fine line though. I believe. I know you and I kind of always sit on opposite sides on this one.
Oh, not always.
Not always. Most sometimes. Well, there's a fine line. I think one of the fine lines is how much do you want to charge the attendee the fee, and you don't want to freak them out by booking out a block, for example, right? So you do want to make sure that they are interested in the block. So if you're paying an extra $10 for a processing fee or whatnot, and that does help provide a better check-in experience or provide some sort of swag or whatever it is. I think that kind of stuff is important to encourage the person to book within the block, but then also to help monetize the entire experience as well. Especially getting out of this whole COVID situation, I think there'll be a lot of cases where we will be looking at creative ways to generate additional revenue and also to make it really nice and fair for everyone to have a good, safe experience. And I think that's important.
You said one piece there that I think might get lost, and I don't want it to get lost because I think it's extremely important. You said entire experience.
Yeah.
And it's important for us to look at everything from start to finish, that journey, right? We've been talking about attendee journeys and audience journeys for a long time. But now you need to take that step from registration to housing, even before that, to the marketing journey that you're doing or the acquisition journey, right? So that entire experience, not only the floor or education experience that you're providing for them. So it's important, and as you take a look through all that, how can you monetize that to provide an experience that's going to retain them? Right? One of the biggest struggles is to actually retain attendees at events or even members. So
Right.
if you can, map out that entire experience, that entire journey, and figure out where you can spread the costs, right? It's instead of saying you need to pay $1,200 to come to this event, right? But it, and then nickel and dime them like on like housing reservation fee or all that. That I would agree with you on for those things. But if you can look at it as okay, your attendee fee for the education, the $500, but for your show floor experiences and for the entire experience around this, we're charging you $10 a processing fee
Yeah,
from the housing platform. I
exactly.
think that's fair.
I think so too. I mean, I can see us doing that quite a bit with virtual stuff too, right? People are like, well, you're gonna come to the show, it's gonna cost you $1,000. You want to do virtual, it's gonna be a little bit less, but it's spreading the cost with a different type of experience.
So let's refine kind of our answer here to answer the actual question of how do you get over the stigma of nickel and diming.
Create a better experience, a memorable experience. Let's go with a delightful
Oh,
experience.
delightful! Oh,
All
very
right.
nice.
To make the attendee feel that they're listened to and they're catered to as well, especially with what's going on at the current state of time, so to speak. So I think that's important, and I think it's a two-way street. Like even hoteliers should, and will probably have some adjustments. And I don't know, I can't speak to hoteliers, but it could be a scenario where there is a lot of shared interest to win over customers and whatnot, and what we need to do.
You brought up something that I just read yesterday. Brussels Expo, right now providing ridiculous level air purifiers, and so that
Oh
there'll
wow.
be COVID fee at the center itself. Obviously, I mean you can't be completely free of anything. I'll say that, but it's definitely going to help. Okay, so now that you're providing this, right, and from a hotelier, from a convention center, from all of that, you're going to obviously have to offset those costs somehow.
Right.
And so this is feeding into that whole thing of like everything that we're doing for our audience has a cost, and there needs to be some sort of spread out offset in order to do that. We're not talking about make a ton of revenue for this, but you know to get over that stigma, you need to spread it out in different ways. Your housing room block solution is one of those ways that you could absolutely do it to provide the experience, and that experience is what's going to retain your attendees, retain your audience. And we all know the issues that we have with retention.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's also important is how the platform is monetized. I mean, because there could be a case is like, well, I have to pay for the platform usage or whatnot. Maybe the whole idea is offsetting that cost to the attendee. That's what we're talking about right now. Is one way to help you as the customer not have to pay for a platform that works for you. So that's kind of cool too. I
A
guess
pay as
that
you
would,
go kind of system, you mean?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Some like Ticketmaster, right? Same deal.
Yep.
That kind of thing. And then I guess we can. Do you want to talk about monetizing different ways?
Yeah, that's the next question is how
Okay.
can you actually monetize a platform like this?
Yeah. So one of them would be reservation fees. That's great. Another way would be maybe per night add-ons. So for example, we've had some customers where it works really well in a state of play kind of scenario for sporting events, where you can incentivize the booking process by adding additional dollars to a reservation fee, sorry, a reservation cost, um, and then compartmentalizing that together as well. So then that's another way to do revenue. Or maybe it could be a hotel percentage commission, which other partners of ours do really well for the clients is negotiate a better rate. And then also sponsorship areas too. So through the platform, there's opportunities to do sponsorship, maybe different tiling or logos or exposure or whatnot. You know what I mean? So there's different and creative ways to start adding additional revenue models, essentially through the platform or uh, attached to the platform in one way or the other, so to speak.
Got it. All right. So to recap that, you have your reservation fee, which is per reservation, not per room night. Right. So you
Yeah,
might
that's
you
right.
might have 20,000 room nights, but only 10,000 reservations. Let's just say.
Yeah,
Then you also have the per night add-on. So an example of that is your average room night might be 190, right, from the hotel, but you make it 200 so that you're collecting those $10
Right.
extra per night, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And then the last would be if you've negotiated with the specific hotels an actual commission based off of the actual per night sales too. And then
Correct.
of course, sponsorship opportunities within the actual room block management solution.
There you go.
I mean, that's a lot of different opportunities to monetize, one singular platform or one singular aspect of your event. Obviously, you don't have to do all of them, but you can, and you
You
can make
can.
a lot of revenue
We've
off of that.
we've done a little matrix on that, and that was kind of interesting to see how those numbers looked.
Yeah, it was a larger number than I think I even expected, which is why I'm surprised that so many out there really don't look at it in that way and realize, wow, this really does spread the cost, across that. Like imagine you did this, but then also reduced your actual registration fee in a sense,
Yeah.
not as much, right? And then attendees actually look at it as, oh wow, they're doing me a larger favor by reducing the attention fee. Some may say, well, that's robbing Peter to pay Paul and all this, but really it's just all the same revenue for you.
And definitely open to feedback on this from the community.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we're not know-it-alls. We don't know everything, but these are just opinions that we have that we think, is a way forward for the industry. And instead of increasing kind of registration fees, you can spread the costs out in different areas of
Yeah.
your event.
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
right, so let's go on to the last question, and this is actually really great because it wraps up a lot of the things that we had talked about, except for one that we didn't mention so far. And so that question is, what can this extra revenue or offset revenue really go towards?
There's a lot of things. One of them can be experiences, right? One of them can be member benefits. Maybe it could be something where, if you book within the block, you get a discount off your membership, and I don't know, maybe that's a take on it. Or there is a benefit of it through the conference. Maybe you get access to specific events that are related to that because of an integrated approach. And then also reserves for pandemics, right? Or crisis that we're going through right now. So
Yeah.
I think that's
That's
something to
one
keep
that
in
we didn't
mind.
really touch on yet, and it's probably a very sore subject for many, but obviously we all have friends that are either being furloughed, laid off, all of that. And, um, if you had different revenue generating sources for your events, you might be able to build up your reserves a little bit more to kind of survive through this. Because we all know that people are the most important aspect of your organization. And in times like this, the more that you support those individuals, the more productive that they're going to be once you're actually through this, and you're going to come out as a stronger organization. So as you look you know, to change your revenue streams, as you look to increase them, as you look to figure out what you could do, keep that in mind, right? It's not. It may seem like a stigma that you're nickel and diming them, but if you're offsetting costs or increasing your own revenues through a spread out experience, right? It's ultimately going to help them in the end because you're keeping your staff as well. Like you're keeping your team that's actually putting on the experience for them.
Yeah, exactly. And the most important, well, one of the important ones is the bottom line. So it helps,
Yeah.
the bottom line. Pretty straightforward thing.
Yeah. Now I'll get all sappy here, Dharm, because I think you do this in one of the best ways, right? I mean, you've invested in your company, you've invested in Resiata, you've invested in StreamPoint, you've invested in your employees during this time,
Well, it's me and my
and Mike too, and
yeah.
Mike. I know I'm only talking to you here, but sorry, Mike. But like you've been such a great example that I believe others should absolutely follow if they can. Like you took a look at the business and you said, this is what we can do. Let's move some people around at this time to help in different ways to make sure that we are creating the best possible outcome for us moving forward.
Yeah,
And
and
I love it.
I think what's important there is also that we're also helping our partners and our clients as well through the journey. And some clients have had a rough time, so we're trying to work with them through that process as well. And some are actually helping us, which is really cool and very special as well. So I think it's really neat to see the entire community pull through together in this time. I don't want to make it into a pity party or anything, but I think how I
No,
feel
no,
about
not a
that.
pity
But
party. Not
but
a pity party, but more of a bravo for looking at the entirety of everything and helping all the parties out.
yeah, I
So
think everyone
I
should
know
do
that's
that.
completely off topic from monetizing your room block solution, but had to be called out because it's part of that. It's part of getting your reserves set and looking at your different revenue streams.
Yeah.
And housing platform is one of them.
Hey, listen. So there was one question that you had for me that you were kind of holding in your back pocket. What was it?
Uh, all right. So why should someone even use a housing platform? Why should they do it themselves?
Wow. Well, that's
It's a loaded question, right?
there's a lot of
And I
reasons
said
for
that
it. I mean, this is obviously one of the reasons that it helps monetize, but that's a small part of it. I think the bigger part is that it does allow the organization to be in control of their room block. Like, who has time to call different hotels to get their lists and their pickups, and trying to manage that whole process is really painful. I was gonna say something else, but
it
I think
it is painful.
it's very painful and it's a waste of time. So I think this platform, when you're looking at it, and not just Resi, but like platforms, but more Resi, let's just be biased a little bit, is
We can
that
be biased.
you can be biased. What it allows our customers and our partners to do is actually be in control of the entire platform. So you can create your own events, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, jump in at any time. You're stuck, we got support. It's just how software should work. It should work how you work, not you need to work how the software works. And that is, I think, one of the most important things. Like when we're looking at the monetization space, it's also important to consider how much time an application is saving you, because that's monetizing your time. And if you're not monetizing your time, well, then you're wasting your time. Period.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd go that
Yeah.
route.
Okay.
Your time is the most precious commodity out there. There's
Absolutely.
only
You want to go
24
home and
hours in
think
a day.
about think about dinner and hang out with your family and play with your kids. You don't want to go home and stress about room blocks. That's ridiculous. You
Exactly.
shouldn't be doing that.
So I'm so happy that you answered that way because that completely wraps up all of this, right? Your time is the most valuable aspect commodity there is, right? When you're putting on these events experiences, and so that's why I believe firmly, whether you believe it or not, I believe firmly that you should be using every single platform that you have that helps to create an experience at your event and monetizing it in some way. It doesn't need to be thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, but your time is valuable. And so as you're doing all of this, understand that. And you do not work for free.
No, unfortunately, we got bills to pay.
So, all right, that's all the questions that we have today. Do we have anything on the live chat that we can answer?
Oh, here's a great question. I think it's from Kelly, our friend. Great idea, guys, but how does adding fees to the hotel rate affect our ability to negotiate the lowest rate possible with the hotel in order to fill the block?
Great question. So you don't add the fees on until you're actually done negotiating, and then you say, okay, I would like to add on, $5 for this for me to collect and whatnot.
Through the reservation platform. Exactly.
Correct.
Hopefully that helps answer the question, Kelly. But yeah, that's all we got.
And actually, a lot of times the hotels will work with you and they'll say, hey, listen, we're going to, this is the rate that we're going to provide. Do you want to add on anything? I used to get that question all the time.
Great.
All
That's
right.
it.
Well, that's it. So I've been working on my sign off, and my
Oh.
sign off is kind of a little bit of a phrase. So I'll say mine before yours because yours is still so much better than mine. I'll work on it. But mine is, I'll see you next time. My phrase is, embrace your weird, everybody.
Mine's bye.